Namaste. Good evening to everybody. In one of his talks, Krishnaji said long back, fear is a precious jewel. A very thought provoking statement indeed. Fear, which is generally looked at as something very negative, nobody wants to live in fear. People want to keep fear away. Fearlessness is an attractive idea for them. And in the face of it all, here comes the statement, fear is a precious jewel. One wonders, why is it a jewel? Is it so shining, attractive, beautiful, valuable? Why is it precious? Do we get something out of it except pain, except discomfort? We neither get anything from fear, it seems, nor is it a comfortable feeling. So, what is this language? So many people think that Krishnaji's language is hard. Actually, it is not so. For the words precious, jewel are well known words. He doesn't use some out of the way jargon. He doesn't use some such expressions for which, that Shashi Tharoor is known. People do not understand what he is saying. Krishna's language is plain English, really speaking. At the same time, it is true that many people are unable to grasp the significance. They are unable to see what is actually meant by calling, of all things, fear a precious jewel. Well, let's dwell on that. Therefore, the topic this evening is looking again at fear. Many speakers on this platform have touched upon fear. I too must have spoken a few words as I am doing this evening about fear. Therefore, the word again. Looking again at fear. Fear is a part of life. It would not be an exaggeration to say in human life, whether you like it or not, there is fear. The poor have fear, the rich have fear, the good looking ones have fear. I can give a long list. I can hear some of you saying, we don't need such a long list. Yes, everybody has fear. If I give a long list of categories of people who have fear, you will have fear that my long list would never end. So I better stop that list. So there is no being, no human being who is without fear. But then, normally, we don't go much into fear. In fact, we hurriedly look for some means, preferably a shortcut to fearlessness. Therefore, some techniques, some methods, some practices, do this, do that, either repeat some word or wear some armlet on your body, wear some necklace with some special pendant, or wear some special rudraksha or something. Carry a little picture of Hanuman in your pocket. So many ideas are in the air. I'm not here to per se criticize traditional ways. I myself belong to certain tradition in a sense. But we are here to examine what it is to really go to the root of fear. while beliefs, people's faith seem to have some basis somewhere. Somebody did that and it worked for him. Therefore, it became popular. Others also started doing it. We will not go into that. But how come fear is called a precious jewel? I would understand this way. Some of you may have a different meaning to attach to that expression, precious jewel. So, precious jewel is in the sense so much can be learnt during a moment of fear. Don't let that moment pass. When you have fear in your bosom, catch that opportunity. And that's a golden opportunity for you to understand your own conditionings. Fear is a psychological response, except in some rare cases where you actually come face to face with a tiger. Except, let's say you are in Tehran and people are saying a bomb may fall on Tehran, sent by the US Air Force, a huge aircraft carrier with very sophisticated military equipment, all supported by artificial intelligence these days, has come pretty close to Iran. There is some Strait of Hormuz. The waters of that Strait of Hormuz has this huge ship sailing upon it. And you are in Iran, maybe you are not an Iranian, doesn't make difference, foreigner, but you have gone there on a pleasure trip or business trip or some such trip, and now the chances are high a bomb will fall upon the very area where you are, then that is not psychological. That is biological insecurity. You are not imagining things. BBC and other news channels, newspapers have reported the US naval ship with all kinds of most deadly weapons has come very near Iran's sea coast. Then you have biological insecurity. Then, out of fear of losing life, if you take the available aircraft and fly away to New Delhi or Hyderabad, Chennai or Bombay, back to your safe India, that is not result of psychological or imaginary phenomena. There is actually, who knows, before you land in New Delhi, you may get the news Iran bombed and so much of civilian casualties, so much of destruction of property. So even Krishnaji talks about how on occasions your instinct to survive acts, and that fear is of a different category. But when we say most of the time, 99 out of 100 times, you and I experience fear because of our conditioned psyche. Our mind is conditioned. I, for example, am conditioned to believe that unless I also make as much money as my two other brothers have done, what is my future? I will be made fun of. Nobody will respect me. All my imagination. In fact, people in the world have better things to do than concern themselves with you. But we find every one of us sometimes feels as though the whole world will take time off and comment on us, laugh at us, and so on. Here and there, someone may say something, but they have their own worries. Therefore, our mind because of adding too much value to wealth, too much value to fame, too much value to becoming somebody, lives in fear. What if I don't get that wealth? And that very thought, that very prospect of not making the kind of money which we had kept as our goal causes fear in us. Sometimes we draw such a conclusion. I don't have even 1/10 of the value of wealth which my brothers have. Should I live anymore? Suicidal thoughts come to people, and some people do commit suicide. Even in recent times, some people, men and women, whom the society very much envied. There was this gentleman in Karnataka, Siddhartha something, some initials. He was the proud entrepreneur and successful businessman behind Cafe Coffee Day. All of you surely have, on occasions, drunk some coffee at that CCD. Youngsters are especially fond of it. They take their laptops, they take their mobiles, sit there, order a cup of coffee and check messages, write emails, and so on. Cafe Coffee Day, the equivalent of Starbucks of USA, Tim Robbins of Tim Hortons of Canada, and so on. It's such a popular chain. And one morning, I'm sure most of you read the news. Siddhartha jumps into a river near Mangalore called Netravati, ends his life. Even today, for most of people, it is a mystery why he did that. He apparently was so wonderful human being. A lot of people who had interactions with him said he was such a gentle person, such humble, such well-behaved person, and we learned so much from him every time we met him. He was above all a good human being. Such things were spoken of Siddhartha, the head and owner of Cafe Coffee Day. Today his wife is running it. Again, it is, I guess, quite successful. So, psychology. This is not because of literally, objectively, you are not having enough name or fame or wealth. Your mind is so conditioned that whatever you have doesn't mean anything to you. And what you do not have is so tempting, so compelling, and looking at what you do not have, which some brother has or some competitor has, you jump into conclusions. So, digging deeper, we find that fear is a psychological construction. It is a certain insecurity built out of false beliefs. Therefore, we learn in these discussions, we must develop the ability to see the false as false, to see the true as true. If you take the true to be false and false to be true, this is what will happen to us. We can neither live the day in peace nor can we sleep at night in peace. We don't get sleep when we want to sleep, and we are overpowered, overwhelmed by sleep sometimes when we actually want to sit up and work. There are many in this world who suffer from unending fear. In relationships, there is fear of somebody encroaching upon your space. Today, increasingly younger generation is very touchy about their space. In our times, in good old days, young boys and girls weren't like that. If a grandfather enters their room when they have gone to school and picks up, let us say, a book or something, they would not mind when they come back. from the school, they realize. But today, probably very much westernized, because in America, that individual freedom is given a lot of importance. So now around the world, you and I have been influenced by American ways. Even our own grandfather, the man who gave birth to our father, picks up a pen or pencil, a dictionary or a thesaurus from my room, I get upset. See how the psychology has changed. I want my space. I want my quietude. This pen is mine. How dare you touch it without asking me? And so on. It has gone beyond limits. This kind of demanding I, me, and my, sharing, letting go is becoming harder. When we look at fear in this way, there seems to be a certain dark truth behind this universal phenomenon. Everywhere people live in fear. And what is that dark truth? Alas, wrongly, totally erroneously, every human being concludes in his own mind that I am nowhere. I have not become anything. I have failed. I have not reached where I had to. Oops, what worth my life is, etc. Alas, I don't think I am exaggerating. From a distance, a lot of people seem to be celebrating their success. But go close to those very successful people. They may have succeeded in movies as actors, directors, or producers. They may have succeeded in sports. They may have succeeded in winning this prize or that award. But the higher science of living ruthlessly says the truth. The so called successful people of this world who become role models for foolish, naive youngsters many times. The youngsters do not know certain hollow dimension of those successful, popular, famous figures. Those figures actually live in their own fear. Maybe they are successful in sports, they got an Olympic gold medal, or they achieved a tennis grand slam. But many a time, for example, such a man or such a lady has a serious issue with his or her marriage. Within a couple of months, we hear the celebrity had to go through a divorce. So, life is much more than just this or that domain, money or power or profession, and so on. And when we develop a larger angle of view towards life, a lot of things melt away. If we think our professional success alone determines our value, we are highly mistaken. If we know that profession is just one part of the whole of our life, if we have loving and lovable relationships, even if we don't have much money, even if we are not successful in the eyes of the world, there is so much peace. Therefore, it is rightly said that peace is more the outcome of happy, healthy relationships. If we do not relate, Krishnaji would advise us to go even beyond human relationships. He asks us to relate with nature. He asks us to relate with birds, with water bodies, with plants, with everything around. He lamented that man is losing contact with nature. With all these gadgets coming, people are more and more between the four walls, checking internet sites, and maybe looking at a beautiful scene on the computer screen. They don't go out and see the sunrise or sunset. So the issue is human beings have narrowed down to those narrow angles of view. They look at one relationship which has, let us say, failed. Failed in a manner of saying what is failure, what is success, we cannot really say. But one relationship failed, one project failed, one venture did not succeed. The human mind, which is so controlled by thought, thought is the culprit. And thought, as we often say, has limited intelligence. And you need a certain higher intelligence to break through these conditionings. The higher intelligence will make what appeared just a while ago like a mountain into a molehill. You know, in English, you have that idiom. You make a mountain out of a molehill, one error. At other times, you may do the opposite. You make a molehill out of what is really a mountain. You do not see what is important and what is less important. If somebody pushes away a plate of real food and goes on looking at a picture of some delicious meal on the computer screen, will his stomach be filled by seeing that picture of the food plate? In one Vedanta work, it is said if somebody doesn't go out and see the full moon, the real full moon, but stands watching a portrait, a drawing of full moon, which is on the wall inside the house. Can there be anybody more foolish than him when the real moon is shining in the sky in all glory? That example is given by Viveka Chudamani to tell us don't be just carried away by words. Don't just be carried away by glitter and glamour of this world. Truly, the Vedanta uses the language of the pure self. Know yourself. Know who you truly are. What you presently take yourself to be is a mere construction of thought. The limited intelligence of thought or thinking creates a certain image. And don't make the mistake of equating yourself with that image. Images come and images go. You must put aside those images. Behind and beneath the images, you have a certain attention, certain quality of watching. Be aware of your being the awareness. In this way, friends, it should suffice to say, in summary, fear is not real. It is a psychological confusion, a psychological formation, our psychology, which is conditioned thinking, which is not thinking objectively, it is not thinking on the basis of facts, it is thinking on the basis of something we began to believe. We began to believe that what is at a distance is a snake. The truth could be it is just a rope. So you mistake a rope for a snake and profusely perspire. You are sweating. Somebody comes and offers you a glass of water. What's happening to you? Why are you perspiring? And the man then realizes that he took that object a little away to be a snake. It's not a snake at all. It's a rope. In this way, life is not, very rarely there is biological insecurity. 99% of our fear is all caused by psychological phenomena. We got to therefore penetrate, we got to dismantle the constructions made by conditioned thinking. Therefore, fear is one of the fundamental formations of spiritual ignorance, expressing itself in conditioned thinking, and therefore the importance given to fear. There are 100 other negativities which also torment us, and all of them are related to fear. Fear is something very basic among them. It is like the primary wave. Then there are number of secondary waves following the primary wave. Let me pause here and invite others to express their opinion, and then we will have interaction between each other also. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. Harshad sir.
Yes. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Swamiji. You have spoken very clearly and given many examples how fear is so widespread, even in people who are successful, and one time they fail, they commit suicide or something like that. Um, that is psychological fear, which comes through thinking. And from thinking comes this sense of I or me. And as long as it is not seen that this I or me is a product of thinking, then we get carried away by fear, anger, jealousy, and that higher intelligence which you talked about is not awakened. As long as it is not awakened, that means the ability to see thoughts arising as they are. And as long as that awareness or intelligence is not awakened, then we get carried away by these thoughts, and then there is the anger, fear, jealousy, loneliness, boredom, conflicts, and all kinds of problems arise. So this problem, I see that many people are committing suicide, even students. And today, a friend told me that three young girls, they jumped from a 9-story building, and the reason was that their father took away their mobile for some time, and they became very upset because they were so much attached to watching something on the mobile, and they were not able to see it. They became very angry, and all three of them, they were three sisters, they jumped and killed themselves. So this is happening in the world more and more now. So the real problem, I think, that students in schools, they should be told about that this thinking needs to be seen clearly through a different dimension than thinking. And even psychologists, they analyze the fear, but in that also there is a conflict and division between the analyzer and the analyzed. So either one psychoanalyzes oneself or by a psychologist, it doesn't help. Only way is to be alone, to be silent, to turn the attention inward, not when problems arise, but when there are no problems. That means every day one must be in touch from time to time of what is happening and seeing the thoughts as they are arising. And if a person can see the anger arising, then the anger will stop. If that seeing is very, very clear, as Krishna ji says, perception is the action. So that kind of an intelligence may be taught in a school or college, but then one can gather all this information. It is like a menu in a restaurant. You have all the knowledge of what to do, but if you don't do, if you don't experiment, if you don't know how to cook, then it becomes a burden. So I think that we can tell the students at a young age that it is not so important to become famous, to earn a lot of money, because that will create problem. This desire to have more, to compare with other people, and so on. So I think what we need is ongoing effortless awareness of what is happening in our mind, and that is the real uh, purpose of philosophy or religion, spirituality. And then only we can really, our mind can be free, we can enjoy looking at nature, talking with people, working in the office, or teaching students. Life becomes meaningful only when we don't have this burden of the problems like fear, anger, jealousy, and so on. So I think I have said enough thing right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harshad ji. Dinesh Waghmare ji.
Are you able to hear my voice, sir, clearly?
Yes.
Yes.
I am really surprised. First of all, I should thank you, Swamiji and Harshad, sir. Unfortunately, we are repeating the same record again and again. Swamiji, in my opinion, has only given the diagnosis of fear. Harshad sir has given some remedy to it, but that is a very high level remedy. It is not for a dharma, artha, kam, moksha zone people. Means the students or common man or this thing who is having liability and all that. So what is fear basically? Fear is insecurity, accepted. Why it is insecurity? Because in duality, it is a fact that you are individual people also. On one side, you are the world. On the other side, you are individual person. My pain is not your pain or somebody else's pain. So I have to face my pain, not you. So this is a fact. Now what is fear? Fear, as we say, it is a conditioning. Fear is basically a beautiful energy, as JK has also said. And apart from the other energies, all energies created by that dimension are beautiful, and they are having their own, or we can say that they are having their own beauty. And if we see them, it is really we are astonished to see them. Now, fear is one of them because of insecurity. What is anxiety? Anxiety is pain in future. I suppose, and it is most of it is psychological, accepted, that in future I see that I will be fail in exam, so I get the anxiety. Or suppose I am not able to attain a level, then I am having anxiety. Or say I cannot become this much. I set my goal and I will not achieve the goal. I am having the anxiety. Now, what is the all this covers under fight or flight? Fight or flight. We are right now. We are just understanding what is fear and anxiety. Either you face it or you leave it, or you fly from away from it. It's a fact of life. You say, or people say, JK say that this is reality which is false. I'm sorry. This is reality which is false, but a human being is a psychological person. He is not animal. He is a psychological person. Maybe he is conditioned, maybe whatever it is, but it's a fact to him. So that, and because of this fact, and from the time to time, challenges are different. Today's children or students, they are facing different challenges. These challenges were not faced by us. They are even facing now AI challenge. They are having very say achievement challenges. In corporate world, they are giving good money, but they are the boy or the student or the employee has to keep his laptop always with him. Any phone comes, he has to give the data. So these challenges were not faced by us. So, and we cannot imagine, we cannot say it is a silent mind. If we see this, then this will go. Or we have to see that this is the false. Only seeing or this thing will not do. This is also a fact. That even Sachin Tendulkar was also having was requiring some support, psychological support. He used to go to Satya Sai Baba and all that. So some support is always required for the today's students, and you can't break them away from the this recent gadgets and all that. You can't say that you don't see mobile, don't see TV, don't see this, because a mature person or a corporate level person, after his job, he wants some relaxation, because mind works in that way only. Mind doesn't just by saying that you see this fear and it goes and that and other things. For if at all you see that this conditioning is not correct or not good for me, then also as you have to have energy of freedom. You should have energy of freedom, and that energy of freedom is supported by the other dimension only. That dimension can provide that energy if you are not having that, and if that energy is available to you, then only you can manage the things. Otherwise you are under tremendous pressure, and that tremendous pressure creates anxiety. This is a fact of life today. So we have to understand all these things. We can't say that this is simply say that this is false, and if you go through it, then this, that. These are all in today's considering today's challenges. These are all words are full bullshit. So these I am speaking today from my heart and with very open mind. So we have to see the fact. If at all we don't have that free energy, then we have to have temporary free energy. See, this, as we said, that this, if at all thought creates it, thought only fuels it. It is automatic. I see the challenge and I get the anxiety. So it is automatic. Excuse me. Only the thought is fueling it. Now, thought, I'm seeing my even younger brother also. Boss call comes and he gets the goes into that posture automatically. So when you are facing such situation, what best you can do? You have to have thought energy, compensating thought energy, which can support it. Like people say that we go to mandir or we go to other this gurus and all that, or the places which are having some prayer going on and all that. People have to go there. So we see today students are more going to temples, more going to uh, other places like this, and that is what it is. We say that they should go to the nature. If at all they are having time, they will definitely go. But they don't have that time. They are under tremendous, their time is so much logged, so much expectation from of society is from them, they cannot do it. So at least they can create some energy and compensate it. Say for going to exam, they can have some energy created by either their parents and tell them that this is there. So if you are having this mala or this thing in your neck, you will having the you will your papers will go in a very good way, or you can face the papers very in a better way. So that may work to him. That much time. As soon as the exam is over, they will keep it away. So this is what is happening. So we say we say thought is the culprit, but at the same time, that the same thought can create such energy which can support him. You can say energy of bravado, or you can say energy of courage. You can say energy of confidence. Like we see in cricket also, they make a group and they do something. So that group energy supports them, or individual player also. So they are also having the psychology. Why? Because the individual fear should not feel loneliness, and he should not face the tremendous pressure. So they do that. So a group energy or such kind of energy, they have to create, and then only they can work as a team or this thing. So when we talk of fear, fear is a fact of life, and you have to have, if at all it is created by conditioning, you can't do much to it, because most of the things are covering from because of most of the things are coming to you because of society also, because of pressure also. Say for example, in Ukraine, unless the war is over, they cannot go out of fear. This is a fact of life. So, and it is a man-made. You can't say that it is a natural or this thing, but it's a man-made. But as long as the stimulus is persist, you will have to face that stimulus and that fear energy. So this is what. So we have to see with the open mind things, and not only JK said. JK was challenging us to check whether whatever he said is correct or not. He has said only one polarity. He has not said the other polarity. Tradition has said other polarity, but that was of the old time. So we ourselves are becoming so much followers of JK that we think only in one way. That's what my perception, or that's what my looking to the things are. Thank you. If time permits, I will speak further.
Swami,
What are the comments of Swamiji and Harshad sir?
I would say you have covered quite a lot of ground and you have spoken from your heart. That is really wonderful. You began saying we are to a great extent repeating same expressions and sharing the same thoughts. So true, I agree with you in that also. But it occurred to me that, Suppose in your town of Indore or any other place, like in Bangalore, there is a beautiful Lal Bagh. And even if we have gone 100 times to Lal Bagh, in your next visit to Bangalore, suppose you get a chance to go to Lal Bagh in the morning and take a walk there, you will not regret. It is so refreshing. So, like that, these topics of fear, desire, and ambition, the topic of violence, topic of loneliness, these topics are like Lal Bagh for me. Even if 90% is what we had said before, it is very refreshing for us to brush up the fundamentals, as we say in all subjects too. But I fully agree with you that there are these polarities, there are traditional approaches which appeal to us at times, and then there are these revolutionary ways of looking at things which Krishnaji actually gifted us. They very much appeal to us at other times. And I think above all, let me say this and complete my comments. Above all, whatever we take up, traditional or revolutionary approaches, if we are sincere, we have certain integrity. We are not using all this material just to give a talk and be done with it. You know, we are not gaining just knowledge of these things to share with people over hot tea or just for show off. Then we lack integrity, we lack sincerity. Needless to say that with a little sincerity, even just basics can make a big difference to us. If we somehow lose that passion, that sincerity, that integrity, then a whole lot of knowledge we may carry in our head will take us nowhere. Hopefully, these dialogues, kindle in us. They again, awaken in us certain basic human values like honesty and integrity. Then lot of things, can happen. Otherwise, lifelong we will talk high stuff, but certain contradictions, certain hypocrisy, if you want to call it, will all the time accompany us. I thoroughly enjoyed your comments, Dinesh ji. As I said before, you spoke with, certain personal passion. Passionately you spoke. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Harshad sir.
Yes, I think that there are ways to escape from the problem. In my view, that a proper lifestyle is needed, like getting up early in the morning, going for a walk, doing exercise, pranayam, and all that, and the curiosity to look at the inner world, how thoughts are arising. Without that, there may be this firefighting methods when there is examination coming, people go to temple and worship God and desire more marks. That is very temporary. I feel the real thing is what a healthy way of living when there are no problems. And then if there is a problem is arising, it can be seen. So in order to approach a problem, one needs freedom to approach. And without that, we get involved in many different methods. And even very old people, they tell me that they are confused. They have read Krishnamurti, they have studied in Krishnamurti school, but feel not very happy with life. So there are temporary methods which Dinesh ji suggesting, like creating free energy. I don't know how by thinking positive thinking you mean to create this free energy. But in my view, that as long as that intelligence is not awakened, which can see thoughts very clearly, then there is a real freedom. And it's not only freedom from fear, but freedom from anger, jealousy, loneliness, boredom, all the problems, conflicts in relationship, because we can really see the source from where the problems are arising. And that requires this intelligence or awareness, ongoing, effortless, because you can't try to be aware, it doesn't work, because again your mind will go somewhere else. So, in my view, what Krishnaji is saying is true, but it is the most difficult thing also. Okay, I thank you.
Sir, only two comments, and then Kamleji, you can go to others. Interestingly, Swamiji said one word. It is refreshing to go in the that bag, particular this thing. It automatically means one should have energy of freedom. And for somebody, energy of freedom is going to the nature. For somebody, some creation is makes him free. So that energy of freedom is available to different people in a different way. That also we have to understand. And as you said, it is difficult to follow Krishnamurti. Sir, I'm very sorry to say, I'm very sorry. Krishnamurti, at that time also Krishnamurti to understand was difficult. How many people have understood the Krishnamurti in the depth? So in today's world, in today's time, they are having very at that time people were playing test match. Now they are playing 2020 match. They want shortcuts because they are forced to go for the shortcuts. They don't have that time frame available. So we have to come out with some solution or give clear verdict that this will help them. Thank you.
YD Murthy.
Yeah. Good evening to all. This topic of fear is discussed number of times, is well known to us. Krishnaji also has given a lot of importance to this. He says, among various psychological disorders in the human consciousness, fear is a fundamental thing. He has given great importance to fear and pleasure and sorrow. These three are the most fundamental. And in fact, he spoke extensively in all his talks. Most of his talks start with fear and then go ahead with other aspects of psychological disorders. Now, Swamiji made a comment that Krishnaji said that fear is like an extraordinary jewel. I also heard that comment. I read that, and I would like to say a few words about that. My understanding is Krishnaji is talking about fear as an extraordinary jewel, mainly because he wants us to look at fear with a lot of attention, care, and affection. Then only you will be able to understand. If you go a little more deeply into it, at the time of fear, actually, you are fear. There is no difference between the observer and the observed. When thought comes running and creates the division between observer and observed, then the observer says this is fear. He names it. So, to understand fear, you have to stay with fear. But our tradition, our education, our society, they say fear is not a good thing. So you try to suppress fear or you try to cultivate courage, which is the opposite, supposed to be opposite of fear, or you run away from fear. All these things will not help you to understand fear. So if you want to understand fear, you have to stay with fear. to stay with fear, you have to look at it with a lot of care and affection, like you look at a extraordinary jewel. That's how I understand Krishnaji's.
Voice not coming. Voice not coming.
You are muted. Please unmute yourself. I think he is not aware. We are not hearing him.
I got it. I got it. Sorry
Okay.
about that interruption.
No problem.
Yeah.
Uh, so what I was talking about, the to understand fear, stay with the fear, is very important. And another important thing is, as we know, there are lots of fears, like the fear of losing a job, like fear of falling sick, like fear of the ultimate fear, the fear of death. All are important things, and we are aware of them. And also, you have to understand the clear distinction between danger and fear. You have to understand how danger becomes fear. I will give you an example. Suppose I am walking in a park in the evening, and suddenly in my path, a poison snake comes. I jump away from the snake because that is body's mechanism. The body has its own mechanism to protect the organism from danger. So that part is very clear. We all know that. Suppose next day I am going for a walk again. First of all, I may not go in the same path because I think the snake may be there and it will create harm to me. Or if I go there, I will be very careful looking into all the bushes and all that. That is nothing but fear. So the danger, which is a natural process, has become fear because I have recorded in my brain the incident that has happened, and then that created the fear. So thought is at the root of fear. And likewise, suppose I have fallen sick 1 week back. I go to a doctor, whatever the medicine I take. Now, suddenly I feel that sickness may come again. That is also fear. So, time and thought are the root of fear. This we have to understand very carefully. And also, Krishnaji says, thought, fear and pleasure, they go together. They are two sides of the same coin. The, the thought of losing the pleasure creates fear. When pleasure ends, automatically fear is there. That's why he said there are two sides of the same coin. And also, the fear is common to all human beings, and the fear darkens the mind, and you get confused. You will not be able to think rationally and uh, clearly. So, Krishnaji gave great importance to the psychological disorder called fear, and in fact, very few people so far could come out of this psychological disorder. But he has shown the way that we have to work it for ourselves. Each individual should work for himself, and how to stay with the fear, understand the fear, and eliminate the fear. Allow the fear to flower itself and wither away. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Shakti ji.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. I would like to share something which I have read this morning in Krishnamurthy's discourse. He says that the feeling, the emotion is always in the present. Any feeling, any emotion, because fear is a feeling plus sensation, It's a psychosomatic thing. So that is always in the present, the feeling itself. Whereas thought is almost always in the past or future. So it was, you see, it tells me a lot, because is it possible to observe a feeling, pure feeling? Either it can be of fear or it can be of sorrow, because it is naturally in the present. It is not in the past or future. It may have been triggered by thought, but the feeling itself is in the present. So that is something which told me that it is not only important to watch the beginning of thought, the thoughts, the gaps between thoughts, but it is also important to watch any feeling, any emotion, any sensation without interference of thought in its pure form. Then, the fear may not disappear, but there is certainly a shift there. Whereas, the thought, it can, whether it is a fearful thought or a violent thought or a sexual thought, whatever it is always, it's related to past or present or future. It is projecting itself or it is recalling something. So that I wanted to share that, the feeling, emotion, sensation, it's always in the present. Thank you, sir.
Vinodhkati ji.
Yes, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, sir. It's a beautiful forum, sir, to discuss one of the important things called fear. Uh, I find ever since he quoted something like fear is a precious jewel means I always wonder why he quoted precious jewel means it's quite uncommon. You can find ordinary metals, but something precious is very hard to find. Uh, I find I find fear itself shows the sensitivity of human being or sensitivity to certain aspects. Like few are afraid of death, few are afraid of aloneness, few are alone are afraid of being uneducated, undereducated, and all these complexities will finally rose up to a context like they will find an alternatives. They always come up with alternatives opposites to what the existing condition. So if I understood correctly, fear tends to fear is a gateway to life. Means to say, once you cross the gate of fear, you wouldn't understand. You won't be open to the doors of life. Uh, I always wonder why fear plays such a and if you try to avoid the fear and it comes out again back at you, maybe in different form, but that restricts your view on the life itself. If one has to understand or get into the touch of beauty of nature or anything of sort, the fear is the gate or the window through which you have to see. So most of them are finding the fear itself in a bizarre condition, like being avoiding fear. And I hear some people are quoting like, "I am fearless." Be fearless. I wonder, being fearless shows the highest form of fear itself. If there is a context of fearlessness, there involves definitely at the root of it there is a strong fear. So as long as a fear exists in the field of thought, we'll continue to shift the forms of fear, but the fear exists as it is, looking at our eyes, looking at our life straight. So I always wonder, sir. I think most people avoid fear by going to different forms of entertainments or any kind of philosophy, or they'll just roam around and they finally come face to face and then they avoid. So if the perception has got the energy to look at the fear as it is, then fear should not come again. But you don't have space for perceiving fear as it is. So that makes the fear rotate itself. With knowledge improved, you only find the better forms of entertainment or better forms of avoidance rather than facing it face to face. I'm sorry, sir, if I speak something out of context. Thank you.
Swamiji,
Yes, yes. Yeah, this discussion is certainly helpful. Different angles of view people take. And one of you said fear is all about the present moment. That is actually a very valuable insight for you and I, especially those of us who have read books and who have, certain intellectualism in us, go overboard. We start analyzing why I was afraid in such and such situation. Why, what actually happened to me? So we go to the past and try to analyze, try to find a cause. Whereas uh, a more mature way to go about it is even if 2 minutes ago you had anger or lust or greed or jealousy, move on, move on. At this very moment, in this present moment, am I afraid? Am I having certain desire? So to be acutely aware of what's going on now at this moment is of much greater value, it seems. So if I got it right, Shaktiji was emphasizing that dimension of the present moment in this context of fear also. That was really nice. There was a wonderful statement of Krishnaji. The future is now. Yes. Many a time we say, tomorrow onwards I am going to be a very disciplined person. Tomorrow onwards I am going to be a very decent guy. Tell me. I assure you, tomorrow onwards. Krishnaji cautioned us, don't talk about tomorrow. This future is now. If you want to be a man of integrity, be so now. That is a hard challenge, hard but sweet challenge. We postpone.
Yeah. May I make a comment?
Please
yes.
do.
Ah, uh, Sometimes Krishnaji asks, is it possible not to record some experience? But I think we have no freedom not to record. Whatever happens, if you have seen an animal, that will be recorded. We have no, but um, that when fear comes, I think it is possible to see it arising when it is arising. And that requires this higher intelligence or awareness is needed. And there's another way which is like I have, if you ask who has fear, you say, I have fear, but then what is this I? So as long as that question has not come to us, what is this entity which has fear? And such a question is a very deep fundamental question. And when that question is real, your mind really stops and there is no answer. There is nothing there, any entity which is afraid. So that is the kind of um, that is the kind of enquiry is needed to be free from fear when it arises without any effort, to be free from fear without any effort. Otherwise, like developing courage and all that, that is always creates duality, more conflict, and any other method, I would say, is temporary. It may, because when the problem arises, we don't know at what moment the problem will arise. It will arise suddenly when everything is going fine, and suddenly there is something happens, and at that time this awareness is necessary to not to complicate the problem by um, escaping from it. So this is what the only fundamental solution I feel is this awareness, ongoing, effortless awareness, which can see thoughts, and Shakti says thought is in the past and feeling is in the present. It's not like that. Even the thoughts are moving in the present, and it can be seen through a different dimension called this awareness. So, thinking is not a problem, because sometimes Krishna ji says thinking is an enemy and it creates many problems. It is enemy when there is no direct seeing or awareness. But with awareness, thinking good thoughts, bad thoughts come, it doesn't really affect you much. And it is happening in the present. All these thoughts are coming and going just like the clouds coming in the sky and coming and going. Only one has to do is to just see it without any involvement with this thinking. And that is what Krishna ji calls choiceless awareness. And that is the real uh, teaching of Krishnamurti, is just observing, doing nothing. Okay, thank you.
Now, can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, nobody can touch fear, or nobody can. We say energy. Basically, one has to understand it is energy. You say that it is sensitivity, it is feelings, it is emotion, and it means you are yourself breaking the thought in intellectual and plus the other part. One has to understand that this intellectual portion has not much to do with this. The fear, arising fear, is a combined phenomena of situation as well as your inner status of energy. We have to understand this thing very clearly. Say, I take my example. I 35 years ago, I can drive two wheeler at speed of 80. I could overtake car signal. Now I can't drive at 30 also, a two wheeler. So it means it is very clear. Even car, I am having some fear of driving at a speed of 80. So it clearly means that how much freedom of energy is available to me, that will decide. And not thought has got okay, uh, one way to look at it. Thought will just give a message, but that was the intellectual message. Inner your intelligence will give you the message that what you can do and what you cannot do. And if you want really, you cannot touch fear and such energies. They will remain there. Only you can be free of them. One has to understand JK also. You can be free of them. And that with understanding. You have to understand that at this age now, you can't run a two-wheeler with a speed of 80. You can take the help of others, or you can find out some other way. You can ride a bullet train or something like that. So this clear understanding should be there for to tackle the intellectual portion. And once that is there, then you may get confidence or courage, etc. You cannot say that this is sensitive portion, this is feeling portion, this is emotional portion, that is in the past, this is in the present. It's again a controversial thing. Fear will always be there. Only thing it will appear as soon as the situation arises. This is a fact of life, and one has to clearly see it. When you will see it on the face, or once you will see the face of it, then at least you will have some this intellectual portion corrected to one level. But finally, you have to have that higher intelligence giving you the energy of freedom, or you should have temporary methods to get the freedom of energy. Like as I said, you ride the bullet train or ride any other source or this thing. It is very clear to me. Now anybody can want any has not agree with me. Fine. Again, you can't say this is a fear of heights. This is a fear of this thing. See, fear is fear. Krishnamurti also clearly said one place, fear is fear. It links with something as per your individuality, and then it appears in front of you, or it creates energy in you which says that, oh no, sorry, you can't do this. So stop, please stop. Otherwise, you will face it. Thank you, sir.
We have to see see the fear in the present moment itself. All the implications of the intellect or the outside, you will have to deal it in the present moment. I do agree with
Sir,
I do agree with
no.
Dinesh.
But I don't mean this. You will see the fear. Okay. Unless you are having the energy of freedom, what you will do with it? See, I can't go with a speed particular. I have to take the help of my younger son, or a young son who is quite young. Unless I take his help, I can't go with that speed. It's a fact. Only seeing, without naming it, without this thing, will not help. That will just, okay, that will, it will clear off your understanding.
May I speak few words?
Yes.
Yes.
I am. I have read Krishnaji. His statements sometimes I wanted to explore with discussions with my friends here, but it is very very difficult to understand how when he says you be with the fear is a precious jewel. He also said in another occasion, be with the sorrow. So we were discussing, and I had one psychology professor, friend to me. I had also discussion with him. He said that late great Krishnamurti has said it, but it seems to be psychologically absurd. When one is stuck up with sorrow, at the moment of sorrow, at the moment of fear, how one can be with him, with that sorrow or with that fear. So we were discussing that human being, for that matter, for that any creature, genetically when it is endowed, born with, endowed with certain characteristics like fear, like ahara, bhaya, maithuna, sex. So out of these four basic taints of the gene, regarding the aspect of sex, great masters, religious masters, they have conquered it, struggling with it by their sadhana. They have controlled sex. Even to an extent, fear also. Some masters have conquered the fear of death also. They are fearless about death, great freedom fighters, they have sacrificed their life and all that. But these two basic things, food and sleep, that goes till the last breath. It can't survive. So regarding the sex, we have to discuss separately. But here, what Pariksa told few sentences, so long as there is the psychological eye, that is to be there. At the last moment of death also, if this psychological eye continues, the fear continues, whatever may be our knowledge, we are equipped with. So when we are dealing the topic of fear, the fear of losing a cricket match, fear of losing an interview for that matter, it's silly. The fear of life, the fear of the sickness of our children when they are very seriously ill at the right risk. So those fears, all those things, it goes with our till our life ends. But if you are able to conquer by exploring the validity and the truth of the psychological I in us, then perhaps we may reach a state of mind ending that psychological I. Maybe for those time, for those moments, for sometimes we have conquered fear. But if the I returns, the fear returns. So one has to be discussing and exploring the truth of what Harshadji told, Krishnaji has told, that is his great discovery. For that matter, the self is the problem of fear, the problem of sorrow, greatest sorrow. That is also the self, the root. So unless we see the truth of the self, lot of that word self also, lot of confusions, small self, big self. And people say, and awareness we are talking, when you are aware within of this awareness, the criteria, the nature with us, it is obliterated by our process of thought. One cannot hold on to awareness. Krishnaji has also told it has to come its own natural way. If we have the knowledge of Krishnaji's discussions and all, and explore that awareness in us, for sometimes there may be awareness and there may be ending of that self. But very soon that self overtakes our day-to-day life and all that. So it's a very, very relevant topic in our human living. Because the tiger, lion, even if they are very, very ferocious and strong, you have seen many pictures in TV also, they are running out of fear. So that is not the important thing, but the important thing is psyche, which is the associate criteria of human beings. It's more psychological in nature, and Krishnaji is a great help to us to explore this. And by exploring and ending the I, perhaps we may be out of fear of death of life. That is the essence and vital. That is the greatest. Our life and our children's life and all that. Of course, the freedom fighters who have thrown their life, that is a different thing. But they have also that self, the patriotism. They are fighting for their own country. So that self is also there. But so long we are exploring, and if you are coming upon that truth, that is actually there is no existence of I. It's a mythical nature. It is fictitious in nature, illusory in nature. Perhaps for some time we may come out. But masters have conquered the sexual potential, sexual aspect of it, and they have also conquered to an extent. This food, sleep cannot be conquered by nobody. No master has conquered. Ramakrishna Paramahansa and great Ramana Maharshi and many masters, many masters, even our Swamiji himself with us, they have conquered their mind and they have conquered their sexual urge of the life. But the fear is struck. I have seen great masters, they are also stuck up with fears. So with these things, I say that exploring the validity, the truth of I, and I also the psychological I and the other I and other things, we have to be discriminating. And with that, but still I am yet to understand why Krishnaji says, be with sorrow, be with fear. I am yet to understand. If anybody can help, I will be very much thankful. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Just two points I wanted to mention here. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, be
So
believe, sir.
first thing is a self-center. As long as thought is there is a fear. And am I audible, sir?
You are audible.
Yes, yes.
So as long as thought or self-center is there, there will be fear and desire. No doubt in that. But here, one or two places Krishnaji mentions about the deep fear means it's a underrooted fear in the unconscious mind and subconscious mind. See, some amount of fear is needed even to teach and to tell. That's a again conditioning. But my understanding first is a self-center. So once we see that self-center is gone, though fear is there, this is not my fear or my death or anything is mine, me and mine. So first thing. Second thing in seeing, being with that, you are not separating ourselves. That's the same as not becoming anything. So though you become for the sake of just as a shadow, as just like you do in cinema or just a dream or when puppet or something like that. But it needs high energy, as previous speakers were saying. So unless until we are with the thoughtless state for a long time, so it takes much time. That is not my understanding. Thank you, sir.
Dinesh, do you want to say something?
I just want to say that there are two things. One is I, and another is the deeper human being status. So this fear goes up to the survival mechanism of the system, human system.
You're right.
Every human is having that survival, and fear goes up to that. When something, suppose this tiger comes in front of you, you will forget your eye and everything, and you will just try to uh, how to escape, or you will just try to escape from there, or you want to fight with the tiger or something like that. So one has to understand that these all things are go very deep. So this cannot be touched. They will remain there. Only with the understanding of this thing, you can improve your eye at the first instance, and then go for the negation of the eye. That is what I think. Thank you.
Sir, I felt second thing was why fear is because I speak one thing, do one thing, and think another thing. This is the most commonly mentioned by Krishnaji, which we are not concentrating, going in theoretical thing. I tell one thing, do exactly opposite, and think in another way. So this is what my understanding. Thank you.
Sir, last Kamleji, last sentence. Sir, it's a very high time that we should repeat the Krishnaji's word. What is our experience? What we have achieved, or what we have seen, or what we have found from the Krishnaji's word. Krishnaji's word may not support us in toto. Something may be our personal, so that has to be seen. Thank you.
Basically, we have to check what is going on inside ourselves.
Yes.
And tally with what JK has said, if it is true or if it is not true for us. And that is a part of self-knowing.
Correct, sir.
And that is very important aspect when we are discussing JK or studying some literature of JK or watching videos or listening to audios. Unless we are doing that, then whole experiment will be futile.
Right. Now he says, remain with the fear.
So time.
What does it mean? If suppose tiger is there in front of you, can you remain with it, the fear? No. But in the childhood, suppose some dog has chased to you, and you have got unfinished business with that fear. You can remain with it, you can understand it, and now at this stage you can drop it. You can tackle a dog in a proper way. That's what I want to say.
Everybody has to experiment with those things which has been said, and then find it whether it is true, it works for him. If it is not, then he should honestly accept that it is not being working with me. Maybe it may happen with somebody else. That openness must be there.
Yes.
So the possibility can be kept open. As JK has said, that we can only keep the window open. JK is also one part of the window.
Sir, this openness drops the eye.
Yes, you are right, sir.
Thank you.
Harshad sir, time has come, so we will have to end.
Yes, yes, yes.
If you want
We
to
have
say,
taken more time today.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, sorry.
yeah.
Thanks all.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.